This is the Momentum Podcast. This is a short episode with a reminder that you are the most important person in your business and you are the biggest point of leverage you have in your business, regardless of how big your team is, regardless of what your executive team looks like, regardless of how small your team is. You are the most important person in the growth of that business, in the future of that business, and in the contribution you make. And I have a suggestion for you. I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future. And instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be. Like I said before, this is going to be a short podcast, and it's about a topic that I talk about often, and it's taking care of yourself. It's making sure that you are fully mind, body connected and grounded as you work to grow your business. I think this is one of those topics that maybe isn't as popular these days, because I hear a lot of people talking about not taking care of yourself. I hear a lot of people talking about getting up and grabbing a cup of coffee and going to work and working all day and grinding and doing whatever you have to do and whatever it takes. And, in running a business, there's definitely some of that needed. But if that's all you do, that's all you ever do, that has massive diminishing returns. Now, today I just have a simple suggestion for you. I want you to be more effective. I want you to be more present. I want you to be more aware. I want you to have more leverage in what you're doing on a daily basis. And my suggestion is that you get hydrated. And I know sometimes when I talk to people and I share this with them, they look at me funny because they think, here's this business coach who has helped people scale and grow, businesses that go way into the 8 figures, and tons of people who've been on the Inc. 500 list, and tons of people who've won 2 Comma Club awards and 2 Comma Club X awards and all types of other things. And he's talking to me about water. Why? Well, here's what I've observed as a business coach, as a consultant, as a person with a ton of entrepreneurial friends. When we are taking care of ourselves, we do everything better. When we are fully hydrated, we think better. We're more connected mind and body. We feel what's going on more. We understand what's going on more. And as entrepreneurs, this is my definition of the entrepreneurial personality type. We are physiologically sensitive, momentum-based beings that are highly reactive to constraint. And constraint is anything in our lives that's slowing us down. It's anything in our lives that's getting in our way. And oftentimes, we are creating constraint in our lives without even knowing it. We're creating constraint in our lives that we don't even feel or understand and we don't perceive. And one of those major constraints is dehydration. As humans, we need water just to be able to function. Our bodies are 70% water. And when we are fully hydrated, we're more aware, we're more present, we think more clearly, we have stronger memory, we make better decisions. I mean, there is so much research on how challenging it is to be dehydrated and how incredibly beneficial it is to be hydrated. And yet, what I know so many entrepreneurs do is what I used to do. There were days where I got up, grabbed the cup of coffee, started working, did all the things, just was grinding, and I would look up and it would be 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd realize I hadn't had a cup of water all day. And I had a slight headache, and I wasn't really thinking clearly, and I was exhausted beyond any measure. And what I found was when I started drinking more water, when I stayed hydrated, things got better for me. So I started sharing this with my clients. And when they started drinking more water and when they got hydrated, things got better for them. And since we're the most important person in our business, when we create leverage for ourselves, when we move ourselves in the right direction, everything in the business will move in the right direction as well. We'll start making better decisions. We show up more present. We show up more aware. We hear the things that people are saying in a much deeper way, in a way where we can respond, in a way where we can understand. And the opposite of all of that's true. When we dehydrated, we deleverage ourselves. We slow ourselves down. We're not as clear. We're not as aware. We don't make as good decisions. And this isn't just me saying this. I've now done so much research on water. It's kind of embarrassing. I've gone down such a deep rabbit hole. I started studying texts from thousands of years ago about water, all the way up to present research around water. And somewhere around, depending on what you read, 70 to 85 or 90% of people are chronically dehydrated. And when you look at chronic dehydration and the symptoms that it creates, it just so happens that when you look at the top 20 or 30 medications in the world today, the symptoms of dehydration match up with the symptoms that those medications treat. Symptoms like body pain or inflammation and depression and frustration and trouble concentrating and all kinds of other things. And so as an entrepreneur, one of the things that you can do to get leverage right now that costs you almost nothing, a little bit of time and a little bit of focus, and literally water's free just about anywhere you go. One of the things that you can give yourself massive leverage starting right now is just staying hydrated throughout the day. Now, I've done a ton of research on this subject, like I said. If I shared a little bit of it, but if I really went into detail, it's embarrassing how much I've really studied this subject because I became kind of obsessed with it. I was so shocked at how much water can change everything and how many ancient cultures and texts talked about water as a gateway to understanding, as a gateway to understanding ourselves better, as a gateway to accomplishment and achievement and doing more, that I started looking at what would be the process to have somebody drink as much water as their body needed effortlessly. Like, how could I do that for myself? Because I was chronically dehydrated. I know. My lips used to bleed. I used to get headaches all the time. I used to have trouble with digesting food. I used to have tons of body inflammation and body aches and pains. I used to have really tons of trouble sleeping, and I wouldn't get really great sleep when I did sleep. All of those symptoms are symptoms of dehydration, or can be symptoms of dehydration. I'm not necessarily saying they're all those symptoms of dehydration for you, but what if just some of them were? And so I started building a process through which I would be able to drink water naturally. And I built a program called the 10-Day Natural Thirst Challenge. Now, this is not a drinking contest. It's a process that you apply to your life for 10 days, starting in the morning each day, and it will help you drink more water every day. And if you go to getthirstynow.com, you can download this process. We'll give it to you right away. You can start immediately. Start today drinking water, tomorrow morning using the process of getting up in the morning and hyperhydrating first thing, then keeping water with you. And if you think about water, if you look at your water bottle, if you glance at it, it's your body telling you that you should drink, so drink. And see what happens after 10 days. Because here's what people have told me. They've told me that they've had more energy, better sleep, better concentration. Feelings of depression have started to go away. They've had much better workouts. They get along with people better. They get more accomplished. And it's crazy just how much leverage something as simple as water will give you. And so go to getthirstynow.com. Check it out. I want you to be as leveraged as possible. I want you to be living up to your full potential and doing everything that you possibly can. And I want that for myself. That's why I built this program. That's why I built the process. And if you do end up checking it out, I would love to hear from you. Share on social media and tag me. I'd love to know how it goes for you. GetThirstyNow.com. I look forward to hearing from you.